The Dental Download Podcast is your source for insight into dental school, conversations with dentists, specialists, and leaders in the industry. With new episodes every Monday morning, I'm your host, Haley Schultz. Let's get into this week's episode. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Dental Download Podcast. My name is Haley, and I am your host. I'm a second-year dental student at the University of Michigan School of Dentistry, if you're new here, and our episodes vary from solo episodes, just me sharing my experiences at dental school, or any tips for pre-dental students, as well as bringing on lots of guests from all areas of dentistry, whether they're practicing dentists or have some insight into the business aspect of dentistry. And today we have another guest. So this guest is the CEO and founder of DentalStores. His name is Tom, and we have a really great conversation about the future of dentistry, the outlook of dentistry with the world becoming more and more digital, liking to do more and more things online. So I'm not going to spoil too much of what we're going to talk about. I just wanted to do my quick, typical weekly intro, just catching you up on what's been going on in dental school in my life. So this past week, we finished up classes, and we have the first week of July, when you're listening to this, off as a break, which is so nice. I didn't have too many in-person activities last week, so I was able to kind of give myself a week and a half break, which is even better. We're kind of transitioning into new classes, like I mentioned in last week's episode, but not too much to say other than the fact that I'm relaxing and enjoying this week off with family and friends, spending lots of time on the lake, and just getting excited for another summer in Ann Arbor, finally getting to explore all of the art festivals, farmers market, other summer festivals, restaurants, bars, just really getting to fully experience Ann Arbor now that everything is opening up and things are a bit more safe. So I'm really looking forward to the summer and finishing up the rest of my classes. After this week break, we'll have finals around the 10th, I think, of August for that week, and then I'll have a couple weeks off and we'll start up again at the end of August for my D2 fall semester. But that's pretty much all the updates I had for this week. Next week, you can look forward to an episode that is just me, and I'm going to be talking about why dentistry, my personal why dentistry, and I'll possibly bring in some opinions of other dental students and dentists that I connect with on Instagram. We'll kind of see how it all just ends up flowing together, but I hope you're all looking forward to that episode. And without further ado, let's get into this week's episode. Want to make a podcast? Spotify's got a platform that lets you make one super easily and then distribute it everywhere and even earn money, all in one place for free. It's called Spotify for Podcasters. Here's how it works. Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit podcasts right away from your phone or computer, so no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating today. Then you can distribute your podcast to Spotify, but also everywhere else podcasts are heard. Video podcasts are also available, and you can earn money in a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions. Did I mention it is totally free, no catch? I've been using Spotify for Podcasters since the very beginning of my show, and now we're nearing our 200th episode, so I can definitely say it's an easy platform, and I've really loved using it. So be sure to download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started. All right, hi everyone. So we have another guest here today, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about what they do.
Hi, Haley. Thanks for having me. My name is Tom Camarada. I am the founder and CEO of DentalStores.com. And what we do is we help dentists offer their own e-commerce store to patients so they could offer products to their patients, as well as help dentists offer membership plans and services to their patients through that same conduit.
Yeah, that's awesome. I heard about this and I was so curious, and I have a lot of questions about how that can kind of implement into the practices. Like I told you, we have a lot of dental students that listen and are kind of envisioning what their practice is going to look like. So I'd love to hear more about what you all do. I guess for starters, can you talk about how dental stores can benefit the patients at the practice?
So for sure, there's two ways that could happen. First, if you just look at the most basic example of it, just products alone, having access to products that are legitimate, sourced legitimately, not through these third-party markets that you never know what you're going to get. You look at places like Amazon, for example. They're a fantastic company, but they can't even prevent all the random items that just come with a Oral-B logo on it that you could literally just rub it off with your finger. You'd be surprised at the rampant type of fraudulent products that are out there. But basically, patients could get the right products that are sourced correctly, that are legitimate, authentic, and that they're correct for them, but also that they can't even find elsewhere as well too. Like there's some products on there that that aren't carried on Amazon, and aren't carried on CVS and different places like that. So just in and of itself, when you look at what has happened in the last year alone, how so much has migrated online in terms of how people are getting their products and their stuff for home care, this is right in line with that, right? So you're going to be a part of that. That's how the patients are appreciative of the fact that they could order products that you recommend at the office online. So that's the one component of it. Now, when you look at the second component of it, which is the membership plan component, which is the part you were kind of curious about, that really helps helps patients who are underinsured, like basically do not have insurance, right? And you're going to find out there, when you get out there into the real world of practicing dentistry, a good chunk of your patients are not going to have insurance. It's just a different type of animal than medical insurance. And then when you find out what dental insurance covers, some patients are always surprised that it only covers like $1,500 minimum, or maximum, and things like that. So there's a lot of things that it won't cover where this actually makes more sense than dental insurance. But think of it in a way of like it's your kind of alternative to insurance. You're offering your patients who do not have insurance as an alternative, and essentially patients could get 2 cleanings, 2 exams, necessary X-rays, plus discounts on all other types of treatments, like 20% discount on whitening or 20% discount on implants or whatnot. They could get that right from you. You're basically eliminating that middleman. But then at the end of the day, the patients hugely benefit from that, because now they're able to get that treatment that they need in a kind of a wrapped up, affordable package. Hey, $300 for the year, that's fantastic. I get my cleanings, I get my teeth checked out. Like that's so important. Your oral health is just so fantastically important that you don't really appreciate it until something goes wrong. And so some offices actually include emergency exams in with their packages as well. And so it's a fantastic thing for them, because now the offices can control what type of pricing that they're going to have. They don't have to deal with all the type of billing and paperwork and claim forms and other things that kind of the headaches that go along with the insurance, the red tape, so to speak. But then on the other side of the equation, the patients are benefiting from getting that affordable dental care. And then now they could get that treatment that they need, because they're getting 20% off. They're saving a couple $100 off the crowns, that they may not even been covered for in the first place through their normal insurance plan. So it makes a lot of sense in that way. And then the final leg of it, where we do services, that is just essentially what you've seen in the past couple of years. I mean, you've seen an explosion in services like Smile Direct Club, right? How many services out there? You see Smile Direct Club. There's a couple other ones like Bite and a couple other ones out there, but there are a lot of doing the same thing. And why are they all doing that? Did you ever ask yourself that question? And people look at them, they say, oh, Smile Direct Club, we look at it like a lot of the clinicians will look at it and say, well, it's maybe not the best effort being put into examining the patient beforehand and for conditions, and then the results may not be, what they're expecting. But ultimately, when you look at what they've done for the industry, you could say clinically that they may not be, up to snuff for you who've been practicing for 10 years or whatnot. But when you look at what they did for the industry as a whole, they've opened up this opportunity for everybody to kind of participate. They've shown the world that there are so many more people who need help straightening their teeth than you would have ever thought. I mean, I believe, and I could be wrong about this, I probably have to check into the statistics, but I believe it was under 5% was the total market, 5% of the population, that is, the total market that Align, who creates Invisalign, was the total market that they've ever anticipated being out there. Since Smile Direct Club has done this and offered the online version of hey, click it and buy it and be done with it. Since they've done that, they've estimated now that it's up to a third of the population, which is massive. I mean, you're talking about the difference between a couple million people versus 100 million people. And that opens up the market to so many people. You even see vans driving around now at this point who are offering like at home straightening and different services like that. There's a huge demand for it. And what we do, how this relates back to what we do at the store, is that we give you the ability to offer those services. When you break down what Smile Direct Club does, they do it very well. It's difficult to emulate, but we've essentially kind of given you the same opportunity. Hey, you could go up to your site and you could click on, hey, I want an ortho consult. Click buy now. You pay your $99. You go in for your smile, like with Smile Direct Club, you go in for a smile scan, right? And when patients do that, they're finding that about 7 out of 10 people opt for that treatment, that couple $1,000 full-on clear aligner treatment. So they're having a 70% conversion rate. If your office wanted to do something similar, you can now, because you could say, hey, here's your ortho consult, $99. Come on in. Show them what their teeth are going to look like. Scan, and then show them what their teeth are going to look like. And people are, they're going to be impressed, and they're going to walk out of there 7 out of 10 times the same way. I mean, you're talking about a multi-billion-dollar company that has just shown you the path forward of what you can do. And you look at other things out there when you see like new patient specials on sites out there. A lot of the stuff isn't purchasable, right? Or whitening, it's not purchasable. You have to kind of like call up the office and do things like old school. What people want now is they at midnight, that's when I have time to look around. Ooh, I want whitening. I'm going to get this for my wife. Click. Ooh, I want, that new patient special. I've been meaning to get there. Click, buy. And then I schedule it, online. There's online schedulers now. So you could literally purchase, schedule, and get into the office without ever even talking to someone. And that's huge. And that's really what you kind of extrapolate from the Smile Direct Club model. And so that's essentially how we help patients 3 ways: products with home care, services in the office, kind of an alternative for those who don't have insurance, and third, buying those services in a convenient manner.
That's awesome. Yeah, I always hear that from my friends. They're like, I don't want to call on the phone and schedule, or like you said, people just want to be like, people love online shopping. So it's a great idea. Crazy. And great system you guys have going there. I guess one quick question about the e-commerce before I move on to the next thing I wanted to talk about. Are the e-commerce products strictly like patient add to cart and then they're delivered to the patient, or do they buy these products at the dental office, or it could be both? How does that work?
It's both. It's so, you recommend the products at your office, like, hey, you need this water pick, you need some sort of oral irrigator. Hey, you want to get that today? It'll arrive at your house tomorrow or the next day or whatnot. And they place the order for them right then and there. The other thing is like, hey, you want some more information about the product that we just talked about, you could really benefit from this. And I think you're going to see a huge difference in terms of your gum line and things like that. And so you send them an email about it. You send them a text message saying, hey, I think you should get this product, but it's all coming from your store. And so the patient just clicks on it, purchases it at home, So either way, the purchase can be made either in the office or at home. It could be shipped to the person's home, but we've had instances where the office wants to have it before the patient arrives to their next appointment. So we'll ship it there if that's something that maybe they want to show them how to use it or whatnot. So it's perfectly, acceptable to do that. But a lot of it is driven from people like to just get it shipped to home. It's pretty convenient.
That makes sense. So I guess since we already talked about how dental stores can be beneficial for patients, of course, people listening want to be the dentist. So how is it beneficial for the providers?
So in many of the same ways that I told you about, but it goes even beyond that. You have to think about it like, look, when you go out to be a dentist, right? Like, of course, you might start as an associate, but eventually the holy grail of dentistry is like you get to hang out your own shingle. And I think that's where that's one of the most attractive things about this entire dentistry as an industry. It's kind of you're merging like 2 halves of a mind that should never be merged, which is a clinical mindset and an entrepreneurial mindset. When you mash those 2 things together, you get a dentist. That's essentially what you get. And it's a very difficult, like, kind of fine line to walk, but essentially you have to go then hang out your own shingle, start your own dental practice, or a lot of people do because they want to earn that extra income and whatnot. But basically once they do that, now there's a whole host of problems that you have to think about. How do you engage your patients? How do you get them to come back? How do you market to them? How do you help them when if you're only seeing them twice a year for cleanings, like they're going to forget about you, especially in today's day and age of Instagram. Like people don't, like they're not thinking about dentistry all the time. They don't think about it. It's one of the I think the biggest things that you'll find out there is, and most people in the industry know this, is like when people don't call until they have a problem, right? And that you kind of want to get away from that. You want people to kind of be engaged and participate in it. And so what this does, when you either sell them a membership plan or when you sell them products or offer them products, you kind of engage them on so many different levels, and you become that center of their oral care universe type thing, right? Like you become that hub for them. So instead of going out and looking at like, I'm going all over the place here, but you could go out and look at like Kim Kardashian or whatever the current social media star is, one of many. And there's nothing wrong with them. They're fantastic individuals. They're so super good at what they do. But at the end of the day, Kim Kardashian is not a dentist. You are a dentist. But if Kim Kardashian goes out and recommends a toothbrush, a million people go out and buy it. But you, dentist, is like you recommend a product and you hear like crickets. It shouldn't be that way. You should kind of want some interaction there, especially like even their hygiene department. So I think that what this does is it gives you that extra layer of engagement with them, so that you can engage them outside the office during that interim in between appointments. But it also helps engage them just to you. Like, hey, you're the expert. Like, I'm not going to go looking online for these other things. Like, you go to YouTube and like you have some dude out there like telling you how to like fill your teeth in your basement. Like, I don't know. Like, is that a good idea? There was a TikTok like recently, like this literally just happened. Now I'm recalling. There was a TikTok where someone was buying these plastic beads. Okay, plastic beads. And they were melting them down and using them as like denture type things or filling type things on their teeth. This is a thing, and hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people are watching these things and getting advice from these people and then going out and doing it. And not to say that people can't go and watch those things and do whatever, but you don't have to go out to be that million view star, but you should at least have your voice out there. So it's a voice of reason, so people could go and see what the real solution is. And it's certainly not plastic beads you buy off eBay and just, melt down and pop into your teeth. It's so weird. Like, I don't even know where you come up with it, but anyway, it is a thing. It's what's happening out there. And so you have to have a way to combat it, right? And you want to be relevant. You want to be in people's, range of sight, so to speak. And this gives you that vehicle to do it. Look at all the greatest companies out there, right? All the big companies that you see out there. I could name you $3 trillion companies. They all started with products, right? Amazon, Apple, like these companies out there, they start with products and then they establish that influence and then they move into services. What essentially you're doing is you're already in services and you're establishing yourself on the products. And so there's an engagement there that people just take, they don't really know about. It's a very subtle thing, but it's huge. It could be very, very huge for your office. And if you look at yourselves, like you're saying, no one wants to call people on the phone. You want to click it and buy it. That is right in line with it. Your patients want to do the same thing. So you send them a text message. Hey, here's that thing you need. Go get it. I think you're going to be surprised. I did it myself. The other thing that ends up happening is that my hygienist said, oh, look, you need a water pick, right? Water flosser or whatnot. And so I went out, I actually got it based on her recommendation. I loved it. I was so excited to get to my next appointment. That's another thing that it's doing. It's not just saying, oh, I'm more relevant now, but now it's like a challenge. Like, oh my gosh, I just did this for 6 months straight. Like, I feel awesome. And I can't wait to show you. And I, passed my gum test with flying colors when I got back to the hygiene appointment, but there's nothing to replace that feeling of wanting to get to that appointment. There's nothing to replace that feeling of being engaged. So from the dentist standpoint, it's a way to market and engage to your patients. That's just through the store channel of products. But when you look at it from the broader thing of taking a look at membership plans and services, when you're interfacing with your patients directly and they're getting their services through you, and you have a membership plan that they're dedicated to, look, they can't go out and see another dentist, right? You've established some sort of subscription. You basically turned your office into a subscription. You become the subscription. You become that service that they're paying every month. People have them set up monthly. It's not the insurance company that's in control of your destiny. It's you, the office person, the person who owns the office. And so when you have that direct control of it, you could put the prices, you could put the discounts, you could really manage it so that it provides the best value to your patients while providing the most value to your office as well. And in that sense, you're not losing a chunk of it. When you look at your insurance write-offs, I dealt with an office recently who's just like, their insurance company sent them, and this is something you guys are gonna have to deal with. Their insurance company had sent them a letter saying, hey, it was over the summer of COVID, and they said, hey, we're gonna decrease your reimbursement rates or increase your rates, basically, so look, you're gonna not get paid as much. And he was so angered by that, he literally went through like 5 or 10 years of his history, and he looked at all the write-offs he had from insurance. And he's like, it was millions and millions of dollars. He's like, I saw that. He's like, I'm done with it, no more. And he started his own membership plan, which is also called a savings plan in some ways, in some parlance or whatnot. But basically, he started that up, and then now he's just focusing on that, and he's trying to get his insured people, look, we're going to be dropping this insurance and we're going to be going here. It gives you an alternative. So from the office standpoint, it doesn't provide that lock-in. It gives you control over things. And if you think about it logically, who should be in control of care? It's not some guy in insurance. They're fantastic at what they do. These companies are great at marketing. They're great at providing a lot of value to the patients, in the past. But now you have the capability of doing something similar. And really, should they be in charge of it? Probably not. It should be the clinician interfacing with the patient, not some corporate entity or individual who's genuinely nice and concerned that they may not be aligned with that clinical aspect that you guys see when you actually examine their mouth. So you're taking that out of the equation. So that's putting that into control. And when you look at it too, with membership plans, people are going to get more, they're going to have more case acceptance with that too. Bottom line, when you look at it from any angle, it makes a lot of sense. If you do one thing when you get out of school and you're starting your own business, if you want to start your own business, your own dental office, set that up right from the beginning. Set your store up. Set yourself apart by having a membership plan at the beginning. And maybe you do it by hand in the beginning. Maybe you don't go out and get a software package or whatnot. But whatever it is, start working with your patients on that level. Let them see your brand all the time. Let them see it more than twice a year. Let them be subscribed to you. Be helpful to them in more ways than just, hey, I got to go to the dentist twice a year. People are going to cancel those appointments,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So I thought of a couple questions while you were talking. Do you find that in these practices that start using dental stores, that patients that did have insurance choose to not take their insurance through their office, through their employment anymore, and then they just do the membership plan?
So sometimes we don't know that level of detail, but
mm-hmm.
Sometimes I imagine that is the reality of it. If they can drop that component, if it's optional, but sometimes it's locked in. Like, look, you get your medical and your dental, but they don't have to use their insurance. That's the bottom line. And maybe they find this to be a better value, right? And so that's where that comes into play. Like, look, I'm not going to even bother with this. I'm just going to, pay out of pocket and pay, buy the membership plan, because guess what? I'm actually saving money at that point,
Mm-hmm.
So if it comes bundled, that they have an option to kind of work around that. But
mm-hmm. So yeah. I think it seems like an office, it would make the most sense, like you were saying, if they are transitioning to start doing a membership plan format, that they, like you said, would kind of start dropping certain insurances and really upselling this idea to their patients. So are most of these practices, do you think, fee for service because they don't end up taking any other insurances, or?
So that's their goal. I don't,
okay.
It's very difficult to achieve that, but there are, you look at Paul Goodman from Dental Nachos, his goal, he stated it on there, this is his goal. 2024, he wants to have a full-on fee for service office, does nothing but their membership plans, and that's it. So it is attainable. It's definitely something that people are trying to do, and they're cutting down the amount of insurance that they're now taking. And so, yeah, only time will tell, right, as to how it all plays out. But it looks good from my perspective. I don't see any end to it. I think that's what you see a lot of, right? If you look at, I know that you guys are probably a younger set that's listening to this, but if you kind of take a broad look at what has happened in the decade or two in the past, with the internet, it is disintermediated. That's generally the broad consensus of what it's done, right? It's disintermediated. You look at hotels, right? What do you think of when you think of hotel? Airbnb, the largest hotelier in the world, right? It's not Marriott, and it's not Hyatt, it's Airbnb. They have taken it over. You look at media, Spotify, right? Your episodes are on Spotify now, right? Where do people get their music now? Spotify, right? They maybe they used to listen to the radio, maybe they used to do other things, but now boom, it's direct to the consumer, right? Direct to the person, right? And so you don't have to go to, there's not that middle person. You look at even taxi services, right? Like Uber, right? Like now it's going, hey, you don't have to go through this sanctioned taxi service that was given a medallion or whatever. Look, hey, you got a car, you want to make money, let's do it, and boom, that's the way it is. And so the broader perspective of, you look at the past couple of decades and see what has happened, that has been the general movement of things. And this is what will, and eventually, in my opinion, will happen with the dental industry as well. People want that individualized care. People are looking at care now the same way they look at products. So it's consumerism, right? It's that in a nutshell. It's a very old term, but it's what they've been predicting for ages is now actually happening in real life. People are choosing it based on price, convenience, things like that. And so when you're faced with all that competition out there, you want to have something that stands out, and this is your way of doing it, right?
Mm-hmm. So what's kind of the basic process for someone if they wanted to get their practice using DentalStores?
So basic process is you sign up, then we set up your store for you. Basically, it's like instant type thing. You could have plans and a store pretty much instantly when you sign up, but some people like to do a little bit more customization. So we'll set it up for them. It's ready to go, and then they'll do what's called like a training and an onboarding type process where we'll have a couple meetings with them, train their staff, and basically kind of customize it to the way they see it being useful for their office. Some of them they focus on different specialties. So they want to have, products not categorized by like toothpaste, but they want to say like implant aftercare. You know what I mean? Like that's the way they want their patients to be able to go click on something, or, Dr. Joe's picks, you know what I mean? Things like that. And so that's where we'll kind of get involved in that process, helping them customize that a little bit. But also if they have customizations to their plans, it's one thing that we could help them during that detailing period of kind of making what they see their vision being into reality on the digital aspect, on the digital front, right? That's it. And that's it. You kind of sit back and kind of let it go. I think the biggest thing is having staff that's willing to use it and believes in it. You know what I mean? Like, you could sit there and have a store and you could have as many products as you want out there, on your website. But at the end of the day, if people don't know they exist, or if people don't know your membership plan exists, it's not going to work. So there has to be some sort of staff involvement on that. But most of the staff is just like, wow, like, especially on the hygiene side or even on the dentist side. I mean, you guys want these people to, your patients to have these products. It's so exciting for you to have that, so it ends up being utilized very well. Got it. So is this something that doctors are paying like a monthly fee for the service, or is it like annual, or kind of depends? Yeah, it just depends. I mean, we have kind of 3 different tiers that we work with them, where you kind of get this like turnkey stock store at a very, minimal price point. And then you go to like a middle tier where you have some more customizations. And then it goes to a higher tier where you could have like just unlimited customizations. So we have 3 tiers, but yeah, it turns out to be a monthly fee pretty much, is what you're looking at. Yeah. And is there any kind of like commission or anything related with the e-commerce, or purely like just you're offering this to your patients, so indirectly it will boost your business? So yeah, it's funny you ask that, because it's something I always forget, because it's such like it's like a minor point. People tend to like, oh, I could go sell products and make billions of dollars. No, I got news for you. Like, Jeff Bezos is the only one that's making billions of dollars, right? Like he's got it locked down. So, but like you can make commissions off the products. So I sometimes forget it, because there's so many other benefits to it. But yes, you do make commissions off the products. And ultimately you use that to drive, more engagement through patients, like patient care. You give out freebies, you gift cards, things like that, contests. We've seen people just have pizza parties for their staff, things like that. So, you get creative with it. But yeah, at the end of the day, most people, no matter what the dollar component, what I've always seen ends up happening is that the clinicians and the hygiene teams, everybody involved is so excited to have that engagement that becomes the focus of it. It's less about the monetary aspects of it than the fact that Tom is so excited to get into his appointment because he wants to show me these things. And like, or that Tom came back and said, I feel so good because thank you for that recommendation. Like it's helped me out tremendously. I feel like less swelling or whatever it might be, you know, like, or my breath is fresher or whatever, my teeth are whiter, you know. When someone comes back and gives you that, like, thanks, like that is worth its weight in, you know, dollar bills. So, you know, just depends on how you look at it. But yeah, the commission component is there.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I was just curious. I guess one last thing, you kind of already touched on this, but where do you see like the future of dentistry moving, and how do you think this system that you're offering kind of plays into that?
So I think the future of dentistry is going to look like the future of a lot of businesses out there. I mean, look at the car industry, right? What has happened in the last year in car industry? If you're paying attention to any type of economic stuff or any type of finance stuff, Carvana and all these other companies, like they are, you know, people used to come into the showrooms. Now people are buying it online. People like to do things online. Like you just said, like, you know, people don't want to call, you know, some people want to call, but that's fine. And some people like to text, but then there's people that just want to click it and be done with it. So I think that having that aspect, you really have to, I think that dentistry is going to be a multi-channel front, just like everything else is. You're going to have a physical component. Obviously, clearly, you have to see their teeth and stuff like that. But people want the ability to do teledentistry. People want the ability to get stuff at home. People want the ability to kind of have that option, that additional connection point with you to get, whether it's products or services or whatnot. You know, you look at what Smile Direct Club has done. That's only going to get bigger. You look at what the teledentistry boom has done. That's only going to get bigger. You look at what Amazon's done with products. That's only going to get bigger. So, you know, what do you think is going to happen, right? It's going to go that way. It's whether you accept it or not. And it's funny, like, you know, I look at it. One of the things is some people have asked, and I think that this might have been something that you wanted to ask too, and I'm probably going to just ask it myself, but basically it's like, who's this good for? Like what type of offices would benefit from this, right? And I think when you look at that, it's like, every office would benefit from this. If you don't do this, like, why? Like, you just saw off your hands at that point. Just go, you know, stick your head in a hole. Like, there's no why. Like, why are you in business at that point? Because you don't want to interface with your patients, because you don't want to provide that care for them outside the office, because you don't want to provide the convenience. It makes zero sense. And so, just if you look at the future of it, if you look at the now of it, everything is happening right in front of your face. It's just hard to see. But in 5 years, it's estimated that 75% of the workforce is going to be millennials. That statistic alone should say something to you, like, millennials love to do stuff online. If you don't offer stuff online, something not going to be pretty, right? So that is where I see the future of it going. I don't understand why anybody wouldn't want to do this, I guess is my thing, because it just makes a lot of sense. And that's ultimately is going to be everybody's opinion at some point.
Yeah, I totally agree. And that's why I was so excited to have you on here today, because I feel like there's not that much education about the fact that this exists. And I hope this will inspire a lot of people and get people excited to do this one day when they get in their own practices, or if they're currently practicing, who knows who's listening. But
hey, you know, go to an associateship, right? Mm-hmm. You got an associateship. Tell them that you want this, right? Say like, look, I heard about this great thing. I think we should do that. Be the person that spearheads that. Be the person that's indispensable to that office. So, you know, and it might just make your career blossom even faster, right? Because now you're helping, you know, offices grow on the business end, right?
Yeah, definitely. So what's the best way for people to get in touch or to follow along with what you guys are doing?
Sure. So you can go to DentalStores.com, obviously, and view us that way, DentalStores.com/dentists. And then if you want to get in touch with us, you could do sales@DentalStores.com. You know, if you have any questions or whatnot, or just want to, you know, understand a little bit more about the service, feel free to reach out. And also we have a phone number for all those people who don't like to call, 1-800-746-7657. But, you know, yeah, contact us. Just get in touch with us, DentalStores.com/dentists.
Great. Thank you so much for today. I really appreciate it. All right, so that is the end of this week's episode. Thank you so much for listening in. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something new. Be sure to check out Dental Stores if it's something that you're interested in, or something that you want to learn more about if you are still in dental school. And like I said, next week's episode is going to be a solo episode titled Why Dentistry? So I hope you're looking forward to that, and I'll talk to you next Monday.